to Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy.
Welcome to Real Estate Live with the Real Estate Guys, Aaron and Jacob Taylor.
We're keeping it real, we're keeping it current, and we're keeping it fun.
Las Vegas' #1 real estate show.
Talk to Aaron Taylor.
Call 310-MOVE.
Talk to Aaron Taylor.
310-MOVE, the real estate guy.
Chris Sullivan, Nevada's #1 real estate attorney. Chris Sullivan, we love him. Well, where's this picture at? We got a picture of you right here. There it is. Give me that picture. throw it over here. Here's our boy right here. We're doing the podcast, too. There's Chris Sullivan in his dress and his purse.
He told us what it was called last week.
His man bun. I don't know what he's got going on. He's
in Bali having a nice time.
He has some weird stuff going on, But, hey, don't judge him by the way he looks. He's a great real estate attorney. Then we got the Foodie Fest.
When's that happening?
I'm excited about the Foodie Fest because we're one of the sponsors of the Foodie Fest. And the Foodie Fest is April 26th through April 28th. It's at the Galleria Mall parking lot.
Nice.
And the Foodie Fest, not only are we going to be a sponsor, we're going to have a booth there. We're going to be meeting people, saying hi to people, shaking people's hands, kissing babies.
Close enough.
All that good stuff, right? So,
shaking babies.
Shaking babies, slapping people, whatever we do.
Whatever we want to do.
Anyway, so Jacob, what's going on in the real estate world? Talk to us.
Well, so, the market is still, trending upwards right now. I think our statistics for March are coming out here in a few days. We had our median price in February peaking at $460. I think when we see March's stats, it's going to be getting closer to that $470 number already.
Is that what you predict?
I'm thinking $465, between $465, $468 probably. I'm excited to see what happens, though. Sales are still pretty hot. Anything cute and move-in ready is selling pretty quickly, right? 15 days on market if you're a turnkey home. But then most of that inventory you see sitting on the market is just not in demand, right? It needs some work, needs some TLC, some lipstick on it or whatnot to get someone in the home. And a lot of people are just choosing to buy those homes that are turnkey, ready to go.
Right. And if you're a seller, what the real estate guy always does, I think we're the only real estate team that does this. We give cash advances to all our sellers. The cash advance is to use for relocation because a lot of people, when they sell their home, all the equity's in their house. So we give them a little money before it closes so they can relocate, get their life started someplace else. We'll give them a little money. No interest, no nothing. Just pay us back at the end of the transaction. We'll fix your house up, put some lipstick on it, paint, carpet, etc., to make it more marketable and sellable, right?
Right.
Maybe you need that money to catch up on your payments so you don't get foreclosed on and enable us to give us more time to sell your house.
Yes.
So the real estate guy, #1 listing team in Las Vegas and Henderson. Just give us a call. We're easy to find. You just Google the real estate guy, Aaron Taylor, 702-310-MOVE, 702-310-6683. So a situation happened this week. With the new NAR law that's coming out in July, I'm talking to people that I didn't even know would even ask questions about it, right?
Okay. So
what we did this week is we're testing the waters, Jake. We've listed a couple homes paying 0 commission. I mean, we can do that.
Not 0. We don't do free.
And the MLS, paying the buyer's agent 0 commission.
Okay.
That's what we did.
Got it.
Just to test the waters. So we got some offers and agents are asking for commissions. Well, right now they can, but when July comes, they're going to have to ask the seller to pay a seller's concession that goes to the buyer. Then the buyer's going to have to pay the buyer's agent, right?
The game's going to be shaken up. We're not exactly sure how it's going to work yet. So everything's in there, but it's going to change.
Right. So we had a situation. We got an offer on a property that was full price, but they asked for 3% in seller's commissions for the buyer. The buyer wanted us to give a 3% commission. Right now, we can ask for a commission. So we negotiated, which I love, because now we can negotiate the commission, right? So, excuse me, I just burped. Sorry about that. But now 2.5%. So we gave them 2.5%. So we sent the counter offer over, and we told them, okay, we're going to accept your offer. In the meantime, before they signed that counter offer and sent it to us, Robert, Sue was trying to get a hold of me saying, boss, we just got a full price offer cash, 1031 exchange. They don't want any commission. Well, she couldn't get a hold of me. So I was with clients, right? So she got a hold of our broker, Spencer. You're our office broker. What would you tell Sue to do?
Well, if we already had a signed counteroffer,
Did not have a signed counteroffer back, but our seller signed it and sent it to
out.
them.
So at that point, you can rescind the offer. You just have to do it in writing, right? So if we send an email saying, "Hey, this signed counter is, no longer, accepted," or we're rescinding it.
Our seller has made the decision to rescind the counteroffer
at this time.
At this time.
If they have not sent it back signed yet, at that point, they're SOL, right? It's rescinded. The offer's rescinded. You guys can then move forward.
And that's
with
what we
offer.
did.
Beautiful.
Now, if Sue would have got a hold of me, excuse me, I might have handled it a little different, possibly, right? I might have.
You just want to cover your tracks because if the other buyer got word of that, they're going to probably move forward very quickly, right?
Well, I don't.
And what's the ethical thing in that matter as well?
There's ethical, contractual. I like to work with all the real estate agents out there and give them the benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, you got to look out for your seller.
You got to net your seller.
You got to make the seller the
money,
most money. So we rescinded the offer. The agent was pissed.
Of course.
She says, "We're opening escrow. We already have it signed. Escrow's already opened, and we're going through the contract." Then she sent me this text. She still won't call me. I'm trying to call her just to have a conversation with her. She won't even call me to explain to her what happened.
Yeah.
She sent me this nasty text that I'm going to file a complaint at the division, blah, blah, blah. I go, "Oh, great. Go ahead. Give it a shot." We called the broker 3 times. Think we got a response?
Nope.
Nope. No text, no nothing from the broker. So contractually wise, legally wise, we're good.
You guys did the right thing there
But
legally. Yep.
sometimes just because it's the right thing, though, doesn't mean it's – sometimes because it's the contractual thing to do doesn't mean it's the right thing. I think I would have been a little more sensitive if I would have got that phone call.
Well,
I'm not telling you what I would have done.
Well, how's the seller going to feel, right? What does the seller feel the right thing is? Do I net 10,000 more? Because, I don't know what the price was, but 3%, 2.5%, whatever it was probably about 10 to 15K.
Okay, let's say it was 10.
Okay, so if they netted 10,000 more, what's the right thing for them?
Right.
Who do we represent? Who do we represent?
Yeah, what I would have probably done is maybe call the agent and maybe said, "Hey, we got another offer. You haven't signed the counter. We're going to rescind it. And
We're going to send you a new counter.
We're going to send you a highest and best."
Yep.
Give them an opportunity. All right, when we come back, we're going to get back with Robert Loftus from Loftus Law Firm. Super excited to ask him a bunch of questions. Thanks for listening to Real Estate Live. Hey,
we're back.
I figured it out.
Hey, we can hear our music
I'm not
now.
as dumb as I look after all. I'm the best looking guy on radio. You know that? I have a face for radio.
You can see no one on the radio.
That's the point I'm trying to make. I have a face for radio.
All righty, let's get into the juicy stuff.
All right, let's get in. Everybody,
Drum
without
roll,
further
please.
ado, Robert Loftus from Loftus Law Firm. Welcome, Robert.
Hey, thanks both for having me. It's excited to be on your show. Thank you.
All right.
Robert,
so-
you just got to talk in the mic. I know it's going to be very hard. Hey, don't be nervous. There's thousands of colleagues listening to you right now.
I love it.
Attorneys are probably going, "Okay, let me hear this fool. What has he got to say?"
They're jealous.
Just
They
kidding.
want to be on your show.
They do want to be on the show. We had Victoria Seaman, mayor-elect, on the show. We're going to have John Lee, the mayor of North Las Vegas, I think next week or the week after.
Next week, we got James Jensen talking about some sports.
Aviators,
The
James Jensen. We have some pretty cool people on our show.
It's
I
great.
think it validates that the real estate guy is pretty good, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you know what? Let's just take this call really quick.
Absolutely.
And we'll see what they have to say. I'm not sure what button to push, but I'm going to push this one and see what happens. Hello, this is Aaron Taylor. Welcome to Real Estate Live. Hi, who's this? Hello? Hello?
Well, we did have someone.
Oh, there we go.
Hello, welcome to Real Estate Live. Up, they're gone. Maybe that's why we don't accept many calls.
Well, we had him. I don't know if you hit the button again, but I heard him for a second, and then he was gone.
I might have. Okay, Robert, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your law firm.
Yeah, Aaron. So I consider myself a Vegas local. I've been here about 20 years. Originally from California, but I've been here quite a long time. I went to law school here. I'm a Boyd graduate.
Oh, awesome.
This is my 9th year of practicing, and this is my first year of opening up my own law firm.
Oh, cool. Man, that's so good. Well, we're so good to have you. You're helping me with a case right now personally, which you're doing a fantastic job
Thank
with
you.
Chris Sullivan. So let's get right into it. What is probate and when does it occur?
Yeah,
Tell us.
absolutely. And I know we have a couple questions we want to get through. So this will be an answer a little longer than the rest, but probate is effectively the court process of identifying an asset, for instance, a house, a checking account, that doesn't have a destination. So let's use an example. Let's say if I pass away today, if I have a $100,000 checking account, and if I'm the only owner, Well, if I die, we don't know where that money goes. So the court has to get involved to say, hey, where does Robert's money go? We need to find some directions. So the court gets involved and finds out any heirs, or if there's a will, then they'll direct for the instructions of the will. Ideally, we do not want to be on probate, though.
Right, because it just costs money.
Costs money. Aaron and Jacob, Aaron, you guys know this. You guys have been involved with some of your clients as well. It's very expensive. And it takes a long time. And when I say a long time, we're talking about 6, 9, sometimes in excess of a year. 6, 9 months in excess of a year. And think about that. If you have loved ones that you want money to go to, ideally you want them to have those funds right away. But it's going to be locked up for a half a year to a full year before they even have access to those funds.
All right, great.
The court's going to take some of that money too, and so are you.
Yeah. Everybody's getting their piece. Okay, next question. Very important one. How important it is to have a good-looking attorney to help me with probate versus an ugly one?
Oh, Aaron, I just think it just comes down to how invested are you.
This was from ChatGPT, man. I'm telling you, it's right off the... No, I'm just kidding. That wasn't a question. All right. Hey, they do say funny is money, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But only if it's funny.
Yeah, I don't think that was really funny.
No, that one was definitely not funny. All right, now here's the next question. Do I need to go through probate, and are there alternatives?
Yeah, ideally we want to stay out of probate. I tell my clients my goal is to keep you out. So there's different ways to go about it, and it depends on an individual's financial situation. Some individuals might have, beginning in life, small assets, and they can utilize different features such as having a joint bank account or having a payable on death feature. Now, as individuals move through life and they have larger asset classes such as real estate, the real estate guy,
right?
You guys are selling houses. Well, you're going to need different features to protect against probate. One of those components, one of those tool sets is a revocable living trust, right? And so to keep it short and sweet, the image I like to use with my clients is imagine a trust being a bucket, going down to the beach and you have your little pail, you put your assets in the bucket, right? And then on the side of the bucket, there are instructions on an event. Let's say I pass away. The person who is managing my bucket looks at those instructions and then they give away my assets. Now, the important part of that is because there's instructions, there's a destination. And if there's a destination, we don't end up in probate.
Gotcha.
Awesome. So I got a quick question real quick too. So you mentioned earlier, the will and the will with maybe a checking account versus a house.
Yeah.
Why? So what if my will states that, my house goes to my daughter when I pass away?
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you brought that up. The problem with wills is, the benefit of a will is it dictates where assets go, and it can also help out in determining who's going to look over your children in the event you pass. However, the limit of a will is that a will alone does not allow you to escape probate. You can have a will that tells where your checking account goes, where your real estate goes, but just a will alone, you are still possibly subject to probate.
It's just not as binding as a living trust is.
Well, it's just a different. It's a different component, it's a different legality, and the trust is an entity that allows probate not to attach to the assets that are in the trust.
Because a will, it still goes to probate, and then now you have siblings and other people fighting over those assets.
Yeah,
right? They can contest them.
That's another possibility. So another component too is, and there's a little bit. I know we only have so much time here, but a full estate plan it encompasses a couple different documents. You're going to have your trust, your revocable living trust or RLT. You guys will probably hear different types of terminology that's out there. You're going to have your pour over will. You're still going to want a will if you have a trust. And basically the reason being is the pour over will is a catch-all. It's a safety net. So let's say you forget to put something in your bucket, your trust. Well, that pour over will tells the court saying, hey, this asset, it needs to go in this bucket so we escape probate. And then you need some other documents as well. That's if you pass away. If you're incapacitated, you need someone that you trust to take care of you, meaning your finances, your health care. So you need a health care power of attorney. You need your financial power of attorney. So when we're putting together a plan and we're thinking about how to avoid probate, we're also thinking about in the event that you're incapacitated. So we set up all those documents when you're meeting with Loftus Law.
I tell you, this is some exciting stuff, right, Jacob?
Hey, I think it's
this
really
is more
important.
exciting than having the mayor on.
Well, it's very important stuff, and I hate to see the situations we deal with where we meet with the client and they don't have it set up, and they're going through the struff tuggles of a loss of a family member, and now they're dealing with the courts and attorneys and people that just want to come and take their stuff from them or take parts of their family's wealth they created over the years, and it's tough to see. So I like to make sure that everyone around us is educated on the matter so that they can take actions to make sure they're protected from getting into that probate case scenario.
Right, good point.
Yeah, and you hit it on the head. It's a tough situation when you've lost someone. So now you're dealing with grief, and then on top of that, you have to deal with financial components as well. That's not you don't want people to be in that position. We want to avoid that at all costs.
If you're, I mean, not even 55, but a lot of people that listen to our show are 55 and over because we're on multiple streams, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're 55 or a senior and you don't have a living trust, I tell you better get it in a hurry because I've seen it 100 times. Parents die, no trust, and it creates animosity within the family.
And then the kids are fighting and they stop talking.
For no reason.
Yeah. It could have been detailed beforehand and prevented it all, and the family could have came together.
Now, when you have a trust, there's a trustee who's in charge, right?
Yeah.
In a living trust.
Correct. And this is all general information, right? This is what we're speaking here is just general legal information. But I like to use that bucket analogy, right?
Yeah.
So that bucket is what holds everything, whether it's at your house, your checking account. Now, there's 3 hats that someone wears when they're creating a trust. Typically, not always, it depends on the type of trust, but typically, a typical revocable living trust, there's going to be the person who creates the trust, creates that bucket, right? And that person's called the grantor or a settlor or trustor. That's the creator, right? Then there's
Bob that's listening to the show right now that doesn't have one, he's the grantor.
Yeah, we'll use me as an example. And you know what? I'm Robert. Well, Bob it is.
Okay.
So let's say I'm creating my trust. I have one, but let's say I'm creating a trust today.
Right.
So I'm creating my trust. I'm the grantor, also called a settlor or trustor. Then while I'm alive, I'll be managing it as well, right? So that's called the trustee. I'll be the trustee. And there could be multiple trustees and there could be multiple grantors. And then while I'm alive, I get to benefit from everything that I put in that bucket. So I'm the beneficiary while I'm alive. Now, upon me passing, some of those roles are going to change, right? Because I'm not able to manage it anymore. I'm not going to be able to be the trustee, but there will be a successor manager called a successor trustee, right? So let's say I name the two of you. One of you is my successor trustee, and then you start following the instructions on the side of my bucket, and then we are going to have new beneficiaries, right? Because I can't benefit from my trust anymore because I passed away. So then you look at my instructions, you say, well, where does Robert want his assets to go? And a nice feature about a trust is, let's say you have a young child or someone with a disability, and you don't want them to have funds right away. You can structure the trust to pay out certain funds at structured timelines, maybe 5 years, 10 years, whatever your desires are, right? So that's another powerful feature. It gives you more control of your assets, as well as another aspect that people don't realize is it's private. This is a private document. Yeah. And so I think you were leading me there, and I appreciate you saying that. Probate's open to the general public, so everyone can dig into your finances. You really don't want that. Whereas a trust, it's a private document, and when you're administering it, it's private. It's not exposed to the court.
And the trustee usually gets paid a fee to do that, like 4 or 5%, right?
So
of the estate.
It depends, right? So you can. All of it comes down to how the trust is formed. You can have a situation where we'll use me as an example again. Let's say I have you both. One of you you can either have a family member or you can hire a professional organization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's companies out there that do that.
Yes, sir.
I have one more question. We got about 30 seconds. What is the potential timeline for a probate proceedings?
Yeah. So it depends on the asset type, and then more specifically, the amount of funds that are exposed to probate. It could be as short as, well, it's still a long time, but 3 to 4 months, and then it can exceed a year. But on average, for what's called a summary or general administration, meaning assets over or estates over $100,000, you're looking about anywhere from 7+ months.
Okay, cool. So we're going to take a break here in a minute. If you guys are excited as I am, I'm stoked. No, actually, I'm being facetious. This is boring crap. But you know what?
Important.
You have to have it.
It's important.
I mean, you got to know it. Usually the stuff that's most important seems to be the stuff that's not as fun. Why is that? Because this ain't fun. But you know what? You got to have it. I have a trust. We all do. We're going to come back with Robert Loftus from Loftus Law Firm. Thanks for listening to Real Estate Live. Hey, we're back with Real Estate Live and our buddy Robert Loftus from Loftus Law Firm. There was a gentleman that called earlier. And again, man, we have technical difficulties because it's us. I'm just going to tell you, it's us. And we get several phone calls at a show, and I don't know which button to push. And you know what? Ask me if I care, Jacob.
Do you care?
Not really. I don't. But, John, your question was about a tenant that's not paying your rent. Besides, going to the house and just beating them in the head with a bat, which, like, sometimes you want to do because I have houses and tenants, and I just know they're deliberately just screwing me, right? I mean, they are. You can't do that, but we can give you some suggestions on how to get out of that situation. Just call us on my cell. I'm going to give you my cell number right now, 702-498-3009. So that's my cell number. Please don't send me any pics if anybody's taking my cell number down, but you can send me everything else, 702-498-3009. Love to help you out and steer you in the right direction. So back with Robert, great probate attorney from Loftus Law Firm. Got another question for you.
Send it.
Okay, here we go. What happens if this is a big one.
Yeah.
What happens if there's a dispute among the beneficiaries or heirs?
Yeah, so Aaron, it happens. It happens often. You know?
All the time.
It happens.
What do you mean
quite
often? I've never seen one that did it.
Yeah. I handle that quite often. You'll see it in different capacities. You'll see it in not just a probate. It'll also happen if there's an actual trust that's involved. So part of it, just like anything in life, a lot of it is keep communications open, right? Keep it professional. First, we want to see if there's a will, and if there's no will, then we're going to want to look to the statutes. But my biggest advice is get as much information as possible, keep the communication lines open, and then just also know that the other side's trying to, whoever it is, whether it's an executor or a successor trustee, they're trying to do their best as well. Try and not inflame the situation, and let's get a amicable resolution for everybody.
I know sometimes it's written in a trust that if you dispute the trust, you get nothing.
Yeah.
There are provisions in the trust sometimes that happen as well, correct?
And I've seen that, but also I've seen it where that provision was in the trust, but the trustee never let the heir see it.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
So they waited until they disputed?
No, if you dispute it, they get nothing.
No, so I'm saying they didn't tell them if they disputed, they get nothing, and then after they disputed it, they're like, oh, sorry.
No. They told them if you dispute what you're getting, you're going to get nothing. It's in the trust.
Okay.
But then they never gave him a copy of the trust or not the entire trust to look at.
Got it.
And let me ask you a question,
Yes.
Robert. If that situation, let's say I know that I'm in a trust, right? Let's say it's a really good close friend of mine. He died at 80-something years old. He told me I'm in the trust. I know I'm in the trust. Yeah. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Then the trustee says, Aaron, you're going to get his car. Okay, great. But yeah, I think I'm going to get a little more than the car. And he tells me, but if you dispute this, you get nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me see a copy of it. How do I know if he's giving me the whole thing? Where can I go to get a copy of the trust?
Yeah, so there's a little bit more of a complicated legal question that, for the specifics, we'd want to talk a little bit more offline. But we can go into generalities. And this actually came up about a week ago. Under Nevada law, under Nevada statute, an individual, a beneficiary that is named, and there's certain types of beneficiaries, but if you're basically a primary beneficiary, if you are named, you can receive what's called an account. You can find out the accounting component. And if you are also entitled to an account, you can receive information about your beneficiary share. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be receiving the full trust. You might be getting a truncated component to let you know. Now, to answer your question a little bit more directly, let's say let's say someone informs you that no, you truly are not, and that's not uncommon. People change their estate documents frequently. Even, they
change them because whoever's taking care of them at their last days or their last months or years. I've seen that happen 1,000 times. These two people tried to do it to my mom. They were really close to my mom. They started helping her out and coming over and taking her to dinner. Next thing you know, my mom says, honey, I'm going to give her this, and we're going to give her 10% of the trust, and we're going to do this. And my sister and everybody got involved and go, no. And we called those two people and got rid of them.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a component that can come up is what's called undue influence or duress. You want to be very cautious about anybody, random changes or changes that seem not
Fishy.
done properly. Yeah, I guess.
Well, let's face it. When you get old, what do you want? Attention.
Yeah, I just want company.
And the people that give you attention are the ones that you're closest to. And you hope that the other people are giving you that attention, that their intentions are good.
Yeah. So the biggest things that we recommend is when you have capacity and you're not under this undue influence and you have the ability to think objectively and you can sit down, that's one of the best times to put together an estate plan, right? When your emotions are not running high, whether there's someone that's done a great act of service for you or someone who has offended you and then you're trying to make these changes, ideally you want to do it in an objective standpoint to really take your time and not rush it and put together these documents for your future.
There should be, and maybe this is dumb because I'm not an attorney, but there should be a database where all probate attorneys have to download the entire trust once it's completed, and a trust should have a beginning and an end, and they should be in sequential order. And so when someone who's a beneficiary of a trust should be able to order that and see it if they're in there. It should be, because it's not regulated like that. Like, you don't know. The only one that knows the trust is the trust attorney, really, who has it, and the person who has it, unless they make copies of it and pass it out. But sometimes it could be a little shenanigans going on, Robert.
Exactly. Like, we've had a scenario close to the beginning of the year where we thought maybe someone was given more in a trust, but we could never prove it. We could never find out how. He couldn't really figure it out, but they just kind of had to take his word. Well, this is what I was left.
And we know he was going to get more.
Yeah. And it's like, how do you go around that? Like, how can you, I guess, as an individual that is a beneficiary, how can you get that document, or at least, I don't know, prove, like, or just get, I guess, the truth out? Like, where is that?
Jacob, before he answers that, let's take this call.
Okay.
Because then right after that, we're going to go to a break. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Hello there. Welcome to Real Estate Live. Is this Michelle? Hello?
Well, I hear some background.
Hello,
Did she
Michelle?
walk away? Michelle.
Question for Robert. Michelle? I know I hit the button. If I hit it again, she's going to go away.
I can hear the background noise. She's on there somewhere. She
I
walked
don't know.
away. She's
I
like,
think-
okay, they'll pick me up in a
Maybe
minute.
Ramon needs to help me figure this out. This is like...
No, she's definitely on, but she just walked
All right.
away from her
well,
phone.
Michelle, if you walked away from the phone, I'm going to hang up. You had a question for Robert. If you want to get a hold of Robert, let's give your phone number out, Robert.
Yeah, absolutely. 702-552-5200.
All righty.
Perfect. Ramon, did we hang up or did you hang up?
Just hit the button again if you haven't.
That'll be
All right. There you go. She's gone. She had a chance.
Okay, I think I hit the button and they're off.
All righty.
So I know there's a couple things blinking now. So we don't have time
So
for a phone
let's
call.
get back
anyways,
to
but go
that
ahead.
question real quick, right? So how can I, as let's say a beneficiary, if my parents passed away and I was the beneficiary, and let's say not the trustee on it, how can I, see the trust or at least find out what the details were, right? Instead of just being told from somebody.
No, absolutely. And it's a strong question, and it comes up quite often. And I don't want to not sidestepping this, but the answer would be contact an attorney. So that they can start the process, because for multiple reasons. One, we need to conduct some due diligence, and then the other side of it too is if there's a successor trustee that's represented by counsel, we have to integrate with that counsel as well with our professional rules of conduct.
Does that count as disputing it if you're just trying to get the info of the trust? Like, could the other side argue that you're disputing the trust by doing all these things?
I would say the typical attorney answer, it depends, but on its face, with just conducting due diligence, I wouldn't say that you are contesting. You're not filing any petitions with the court.
Yeah.
So, it unfortunately is an attorney answer. It depends on the circumstances. But, I know we're going to go to a break, Aaron, whether I can answer it now or in the future. But there are some other takeaways that I see that come across my practice that I think could really benefit both of your client base out there in regards to how to avoid probate and some other things that do end up in probate that, some simple actions that can benefit your clients.
Well, we got 2 more minutes. Let's see if I can get Michelle in. I'm going to try it one more time. Okay. Hello, Michelle. Are you here?
Hello. Michelle,
Hello?
are you here?
Yeah, Ramon. I don't know what the dealio is.
I really think she just put it on speaker and maybe had to go take care of the kid.
Yeah,
She
so
couldn't
it's been
hear
happening.
us.
Here, I'm going to hit this again. Let's see.
Hello.
All right,
Hello.
Michelle, are you there? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear the background slightly.
Yeah, so
again,
I don't
but
know
she
what's
just
going on,
can't hear
Ramon, but
us.
we'll have to figure it out. Anyways, okay, enough of that. So, Robert, give everybody your phone number. One more time. We're going to do this about 3 more times before we're done at 4 o'clock. So, name, phone number, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, thank you. This is Robert Loftus. Phone number here is 702-552-5200.
Perfect. We're going to take a break in about 10 seconds. And the next segment will just be a little longer, so we'll be able to ask a few more questions. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Real Estate Live. We'll be back in just a minute. Friday, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. I have to stand up. I can't sit down anymore.
Oh, getting antsy over there.
No, what it is my ass is hurting because it's not there anymore.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't know if I could say that on the air, but I just did. I don't know. I mean,
All right, let's get into some more juicy probate
hey,
talk.
can I do this real quick?
What's up?
Because I know, Robert, we're going to go to the end of the show. We got a couple houses that I want to just talk
Okay,
about.
get them out of the way. Some houses
Get
of
the
the
houses
week.
because we got when you list your house with the real estate guys, we're going to talk about your house on air. We're going to put your house. We're going to do a farm for you in the neighborhood. We got 40,000 people in our database. We're going to use Google to get your house out there. 24 radio stations, a dozen TV stations. We have
20 buyers agents,
fellow
door
20
knocking.
buyers agents. We have, oh my God, we sell more houses that we list than anybody else out there. I'm just telling you. So here's a couple of the houses. 9116 Picket Fence.
Where's that at?
In Centennial Hills. 2,166 square foot, 3-car garage. Nice property. I've seen it.
Okay.
$460,000.
Oh, right at the median price.
Heard it here first. Where did you hear that first, Robert?
The real estate guy.
The real estate guy. You heard it here first. How many real estate companies out there talk about their sellers' listings on the air?
I don't think any.
0. Okay, here we go. Another one. 9112 Spoonbill Ridge Place. Spoonbill Ridge Place.
Fun street address.
1,476 square feet. Again, in Centennial Hills. Wow, it's a Centennial Hills kind of a show. 380,000. Whoa, 380? Can't you even buy a house for 380? You can with the real estate guys. All right, let's get rid of that one.
All right.
Yeah, we're getting rid of that one. Someone said, hey, love, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I'm not even going to talk about that one. We're going to stop right there. All right, Robert. So what were you saying, Jacob? Where were we at? Do I need to ask another question?
I think we were getting into the juicy part of probate. I'll let
Well,
Robert pick up.
I was
where
going
he
to step
left
out
off.
of probate for a second because I like to provide value even when it doesn't bring in clients in the door. So for the people that are on the radio that are listening, some things that you could do to help yourself out, just update your beneficiary designations on accounts that are not subject to probate, meaning any type of 401ks, IRAs, any pensions, your life insurance, those are not exposed to probate. And unfortunately, those are overlooked sometimes. And it's a simple task, but it's one of those tasks that you just keep putting off because it is so simple. So I recommend just scheduling 1 day a week and just calling your respective institutions, getting those updated because, there might be a beneficiary that's not listed or an old beneficiary that you don't want to receive anymore. So I just recommend taking a little bit of time, updating that, as well as if your house is not in a trust, and you want it to be in a trust, but in the interim, take a look at your deeds. Make sure that they're done properly. Some of them are not deeded in the correct way, and so you can be in a legal issue by not having your deeds done properly. Those are just some small tasks that you really don't need an attorney for. That can really save you a lot of time and money in the future.
Yeah, but if you don't know it, you need an attorney to tell you.
Okay, I'll help you out.
Yeah, and you'll help them. So I know one thing again for our listeners because I've really talked to 2 people. One of them are some clients that you're helping about a trust. Right, they're in their 50s. They have 2 adult boys. You're finding them a condo for one of their kids. They own 3 properties. They have retirement accounts. They have a stock account. They have a bank account. They have a life insurance policy. They have no living trust.
Yeah.
So, guys, if this sounds like you, this is so important. Call Robert Loftus because the first step is that living trust, and the little money you spend on it. What is it? A couple, 2,000 or 3,000? I don't know.
It'll save your kids or your family tens of thousands down the road.
Oh, headaches down the road,
and headaches and the griefs and the dealing with the court, dealing with the attorneys, dealing with the infighting between family members because it wasn't detailed. And it's such a sad scenario for any family to have to go through after the passing of a loved one.
You'd rather deal with an attorney now with the trust than have everybody else deal with the same attorney for probate later.
Sure. And here's another component too. A lot of this, unfortunately, seems like it's negative or dark because it revolves around death. But when you are going through the estate planning process and you're looking at your family loved ones, in a way, I've seen it bring families together too, right? Because you're sitting down, you're making the hard decisions, and you're talking with the loved ones. It's a powerful motivator.
Yeah, those conversations have to be had. It's just whether or not they're had before the event happened. It's whether they're proactive or reactive, right? And you'd rather be proactive about it and be prepared.
Well, you know what they say, life is part of death. Do they say that?
Well, I don't
that
think
makes
so.
no
That
sense.
doesn't even
But
make sense.
you've heard that
Death
before,
is
right?
part of life, maybe?
Life is part of death. Is that the term?
I don't know. It didn't sound.
Because all I know is when you're dead and you ain't living. I don't know if it's part of life.
All right. What other questions we got for Robert?
Let me come up with another. Let me put my eyeballs on here. Can you provide a cost estimate, overall cost probate for a situation? Kind of just, there's I'm sure there's a consultation fee, and then when you're going through probate, that's why you want to do the trust. It goes in different levels, right, of how you get paid.
Yeah.
Can you kind of briefly give a 30-second talk about that?
Yeah, so I'll make it easy. Typical attorney answer, it depends. But effectively, there's 4 tranches in Nevada of probate. There's estates that are $25,000 or less, which effectively really don't need an attorney. And there's specific on how that operates. There are...
And by the way, I've heard that when you meet with people, if they don't need you, you're not going to take their money. You're going to tell them, hey, you don't need me. Just go do this because you just helped me with that.
That's correct. And I also don't charge a consultation fee either.
Yeah. So, guys, if you're listening to this, that's pretty huge. For our podcast people, hey, if you meet with Robert Loftus and you don't need him, he ain't going to charge you. And he ain't going to charge you and try to create ways to pay him. He's going to tell you the truth.
That is correct.
Because you did that with a friend of mine's dad.
That is correct.
Remember, I asked you a few questions. You said, Aaron, go do this and go do that. You don't need to pay anybody. I was like, wow. That was shocking because attorneys are like scum of the earth, right? They're down there with real estate agents. And this guy was saying, it's like, hey, don't pay us.
Thanks, Aaron. Thank you.
Well, I mean, hey, I put us involved with you, right?
Hey, we are the least trusted professions out there.
Is it car salesmen, attorneys, and then realtors?
No, the
Or is
worst.
it-
I think the bottom most is attorneys. Then next was
man.
car salesmen, and
then
it was
realtors. So we're
right
above all
after.
of
We're
them.
above the 2 other ones.
That's
I
it
think.
ain't
Just-
right. Huh?
Just barely.
That ain't
It hurts.
right.
It hurts.
Ambulance. You're an ambulance chaser. No, just kidding. That's a great ambulance chaser. So go ahead, Robert. I didn't mean to-
So the other tranches that are involved with probate in Nevada is if an estate is and this is the value at the time of death. If the estate is $100,000 or less, or if there is a pour over will, like we were discussing earlier, that's what's called a set aside. Usually that's a faster process, right? And then the next tranche is between $100,000 and $300,000, which is called a summary administration. And there's mechanics that are involved. We need to notify any potential creditors and go through the process of if any real property needs to be sold. And then the last, which is called the general administration, which is a full administration, would be for 3 estates valued at $300,000 or more. And usually those are the more expensive just because the value of or the cost of probate is tied to the value of the estate. And it follows a Nevada statute that the general public can just Google and take a look at how much it would cost.
Awesome. There are a few ways, besides the obvious one, the living trust, right, to avoid probate. There are a few other ways, and I want to ask you if these are correct or not correct. There's joint ownership of a property.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right.
And the reason being is, again, as we started with this conversation, there has to be a destination, right? And so if Jacob and I jointly own an asset together, and if I pass away, well, there's still a survivor. There's still a destination. Jacob
Right. You would
be
call
the
that a beneficiary destination, correct?
Well, unfortunately, the terminology depends. So if it's a joint ownership with rights of survivorship, that's a different than if I had an account and named Jacob as a payable on death or transfer on death. That's a different mechanism. Almost same outcome, but in some ways, but it's slightly different.
That was another one I was going to tell you about too. Payable on death is another one, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the difference is with the joint rights of survivorship. Jacob and I have joint access to the account. We own it jointly. Whereas if I own an account and have a payable on death to Jacob, I'm the only owner, so I'm the only one that can make the decisions until I pass away, and then Jacob is afforded the authority to use those assets.
Another big one. I know Jacob's going to love this one. Gifts.
Yeah.
Just give it away before I die.
Yeah, that's an option, and I would recommend speaking with a CPA.
Jake's like, yes, Dad, give it all to me now. Right? Sign over that company to him right now. Give him my houses right now. Make him the beneficiary of my will or my insurance policy and be done. Don't have to do anything, right?
Yeah, and when you're going in those type of directions, I would recommend that the listeners leverage the other professionals that are out there. CPA if you're going to be gifting.
Got to do it the right way.
Got to do it the right way. Well, and there's tax considerations that can benefit you, right? So, same concept with your life insurance. It's an important feature. Speak with your insurance professional. Leverage the professional staff that you have around you, and they'll take care of you.
Well, I don't know about you, Jacob, but I learned a lot.
Yeah, it's a very informative show today, I think.
I always do. I mean, most of her shores aren't that informative. Right? We're just stupid. We're
messing
talking.
around.
We're laughing. We're messing around.
I think you got some value
I
today.
think we got
if
some value
If you were
today.
listening up, right, and you don't have a trust, I think you're more likely to think about getting one now.
I better take that statement back because Victoria Seaman, our next mayor coming up,
She did-
we
she
love
gave-
her.
she gave some good value.
She's probably listening right now going, well, what about my value? Right?
She's going to help save our city.
She is. I tell you what, Robert, vote for Victoria Seaman. We love her. She's down to earth. She's blue. I mean, she's like fighting for the blue collar people. She wants to create jobs. She wants to get homeless off the streets. She wants to bring more companies to our city. So she's fantastic. Anyways, Robert Loftus from Loftus Law Firm. Give your phone number one more time.
It's going to be at 702-552-5200.
Great. And if you guys want to get a hold of the real estate guys, Aaron Taylor and Jacob Taylor.
702-310-6683. That's 702-310-MOVE.
Right. License number 38886
Call
for
for
anybody out there
details.
listening. Hey, want to protect our asteroids? 3886. Thanks for listening. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
The real estate guy.